I haven't even watched the Meghan and Harry docuseries. And part of the reason is I just think I'll feel bad hearing them talk about what they've been through. And I've already talked about like how much hate Meghan Markle gets from someone like Bethany Frankel and just the media in general. But look at this. The way people publicly attack Meghan Markle with their whole face, just totally openly for all to see, no anonymity needed, because they're counting on the public hate for her. They really believe she's fair game because they see her as this woman of color who infiltrated the royal family. People are so mad that I can understand the sentiment that some BIPOC folks prioritize not spending time with white people during their free time. The time where everyone can be selective in who they spend their time with because they're tired and need refuge from the demands of a white-centric society propelled by white supremacy, where whiteness is catered to and centered in everything. And this is their response. Instantly. It's not racist to not want to be around that. Because we know that's at the tip of your tongue, at the slightest slight you feel.
All right, guys. So we got to talk about a woke, I guess you can characterize it as racist, right? TikTok from a Korean woman who clearly does not like white people, okay? She argues that so-called BIPOC people, aka non-whites, need a safe space from white people because white people are terrible, right? They're terrible for society. They're terrible for so-called people of color. And because of that, they need a safe space. And if you complain about it, then you're racist. But she's not racist, even though she's calling for segregation. So without further ado, roll the clip.
So obviously, it's not the actual skin tone when we're talking about whiteness. It's the entitlement, privileges, microaggressions that white people indulge in because we live in a white supremacist society where whiteness is seen as the standard and catered to in everything that exists. In Hollywood, in government, in schools. And people will be like, you can't just base it off of that one racist person. When you're a person of color, it's never that one racist white person you encountered. The white superiority complex isn't everything you touch. It's never just one thing. And the way you carry yourself, your mannerisms, the way you speak, cumulative. And most white people are not actively fighting racism. So if BIPOC folks in their leisure time, because it's exhausting to be around that 24/7, want to be in the comforts of people that they trust, feel safe with, enjoy free time away from societal pressures of white dominance, which is constantly being pushed. It's not exclusionary. Some BIPOC folks enjoy a place of safe haven where whiteness is not centered. It's about nurturing and nourishing the wellness of BIPOC folks. For once, in their personal time and personal space, out of the million other times where they cannot. If you can't understand the need for that or respect that, you're exactly the reason.
Yeah, so somebody help me out here. I don't understand the white. I don't understand that. I don't understand why people spell white with like YT, right? In this TikTok, she spelled it with an H. I don't understand the emphasis on the W and the H in the word white. Is it not okay just to say the word white the regular way or to spell it the regular way? Is it that triggering? Right? Is the word white, is that triggering to these people? I don't know. But obviously the first thing you got to say when you hear TikToks like this is like, would this person be allowed on the internet if they were white? And they were saying this about anybody else of a different race, right? Would this person be allowed on the internet if they went on TikTok and said, hey, white people need a safe space away from blacks because them blacks are so violent. Those blacks are so dangerous. I don't like them blacks, right? We need a safe space away from them. I don't think that this person would last very long on the internet if she was saying that. But again, here we are with another double standard once again, where it's totally fine to say these things about white people, but not anybody else. And I just want to be clear about this because I do quite a bit of these videos. I want to be clear about my stance on this. I'm not opposed to her freedom of speech to say that. I'm just opposed to double standard, right? If white people could openly say stuff like this, I would have no issues with, what she's saying outside the fact I disagree with it. And I would also disagree if a white person said that as well too. But I would not, be making these types of videos because at the very least, both sides are allowed to say what they want to say, right? If black people or so-called people of color, BIPOC people allowed to be segregated, and to openly say, hey, we want segregation, then white people should be allowed to say, hey, we openly want segregation. We don't want any black folks around. We don't like you, right? We want our own neighborhoods. We want our own this, we want all that. Great, right? If both sides are allowed to say that, then it's cool. I just want a fair game, okay? I don't necessarily agree with it, but I just want a fair game, right? Because me personally, when it comes to selecting people in my life who I want to be around me, I judge people by their character, not by their skin color. And this person right here, because you can define them as racist, right? She clearly is judging white people by their skin color. She's automatically saying that because they're white, there's some type of threat to a non-white person, when that's just not true, right? That's simply not true. A majority of white people are not a threat to so-called people of color, to the point where so-called people of color need to be treated like children and put into some type of safe space so they can get away from the white boogeyman, right? In fact, statistically speaking, you're much more likely to be harmed or an act of violence or murdered by somebody of your own skin color. So again, what she's saying it's not even true from a statistical standpoint. You are probably much safer around somebody not of your own race, okay? But, hey, you got to pay attention to how these people talk about so-called people of color, especially, her being Asian, right? An ethnicity, a race that the people that she's defending would happily discriminate against when it comes to affirmative action, because apparently Asians, right, are so smart. They're so inherently smarter than everybody else that they should be discriminated against, along with whites, when it comes to college admissions and education and stuff like that. Right? It's just amazing to me that the crowd that she's defending, again, would happily discriminate against her in certain circumstances. But what really bothers me, again, is the coddling of so-called people of color, as if, just by definition of not being white, you're some type of victim, right? You are being harmed by white people. You are tired of white people. You're annoyed by white people. You don't want to be around them. I don't think that most people, right, who are not white default to, I just don't want to be around whites. Okay. I'm just saying, I feel like there are people who don't even want to be around people of their same race because you're around them all the time, and it's just, you deal with those issues, right? I don't know, man. These people have to be some of the most miserable people on the planet, right? Imagine living your life thinking about and being concerned about what somebody else thinks about you just because they are of a different race. I never really understood that. I really don't understand it. I really don't understand people who are obsessed with other people and what they think about them when it comes to race. I truly don't get it. Everybody's different. I've talked to, black people who have been unfriendly to me, right? And black people have been friendly to me, or Asian people that have been friendly and Asian people have been unfriendly. Hispanic people across the board, right? It doesn't matter what their race is. People are people, and you should judge people by their character and not the color of their skin. But again, the wokes don't believe in that anymore, right? They don't believe in that. Okay, what they believe is it is in a racist ideology called anti-racism, which basically means that you have to actively discriminate against white people in order to not be racist. Again, in her mind, she doesn't believe that most white people are anti-racist, therefore they are racist, right? Which is why you shouldn't be around them, okay? Because they're not anti-racist. They don't want to hate themselves and to call for discrimination against themselves simply because they feel guilty about the things that happened in the past. Again, it's just amazing to me how some of these people live their lives caring so much about what other people think about them and trying to categorize people based off their race. It just doesn't sound fun, right? It doesn't sound like a good life, okay? Excluding groups of people out of your life simply because of their race. Again, I'm just not sure if that's the way I would like to live. However, if you do want to live that way, it's totally fine, right? And if you want to say that out loud, that's totally fine. But don't get mad and don't get upset when a white man comes out and says, hey, I don't like you Asians, right? Y'all need to go back to China. I don't like the Latinos. They need to go back to Mexico. Like, just don't get mad, right? Don't get mad when the white man says that, because they should be allowed to say it as well too. I'm just saying, I am for equal playing field for everybody, right? Everybody should be able to say the things they want to say. My biggest problem is the double standard here. That's my biggest problem. So let me know what you guys think. Make sure you like, comment, and subscribe. Most importantly, share a Black conservative perspective. Peace.